My name's Heather Rodriguez. I'm a natural fertility specialist, and my team and I work with couples all over the country and the world, helping couples to improve their fertility and become ready for pregnancy. Today we're going to talk about fertility herbs, and this is going to be part one because this is a big topic that is really helpful for couples who are trying to get pregnant. This is one of your main tools that you can use to boost your fertility naturally. And the great thing about herbs is that they're very accessible for people and they are very affordable. All right, so I'm just gonna, all right, we'll just have to deal with some bad light today for whatever reason. We'll go ahead and get started. So for those who are just joining, my name is Heather Rodriguez. I'm a natural fertility specialist, and you can find more information about natural fertility at my website, naturalfertilityinfo.com. And today's topic is how to use herbs to boost fertility and support reproductive health. All right, so some of the first things I want to cover in this part one is some of the misconceptions about fertility herbs and kind of give you a general education and idea on how fertility herbs work and why you would want to use them. Okay, so the first is a lot of people treat fertility herbs as if they were like fertility drugs, and they are not. They're very different. So there's pros to that though. Fertility herbs are wonderful. So one of the things to think about when you're considering using fertility herbs is that herbs help to support the body. And you get a result because the body is functioning at its best. You get a result because an herb is supporting a specific area, part, or system of the body, and then the body is functioning as it was designed to. When you're using a fertility medication, the body is being forced to have a specific response, a specific result. And I want to say beforehand, I'm not going to be super anti-fertility medications, fertility drugs. There is a place for them, definitely. They're modern medical miracle. But a lot of people actually won't need them. There was a recent study done where couples that were going in for fertility treatment, it was over 70% of them didn't even know when their most fertile times were. And that was actually the reason they weren't getting pregnant, not because of infertility issue. It was just lack of knowledge. So that's something to think about. So with fertility herbs and how they're different from fertility drugs is they're going to help support the body to be healthy and to function normally because the system is healthy. Another misconception about fertility herbs is going to be how long they take to work. So that's something to remember when you're using fertility herbs is since they are helping a system and they are working to make your body healthier, they're going to take some time to work and to get the result. And so for those of you who are new to Periscope, I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you. If you know someone that this would be helpful for, I'm covering the how to use herbs for boosting fertility. You can swipe up or swipe left to right and share that with that person directly, or share this scope with your followers. You can also tap on the screen and you'll make these beautiful little hearts. I love these little pink hearts. That's one of our company's colors. And that lets me know that the content is helpful to you, or that you agree, or it's just kind of like your way of being able to respond back to me. And you can also ask questions in the comments box. I am more than up for talking with you and not just lecturing. Okay, so with fertility herbs, they're going to take some time to work. I generally say, so some are quicker than others, and it depends on the kind of fertility issue that's happening. But they generally will take at least 3 months before you should expect a response. Sometimes it's a lot quicker, sometimes it can be a month, and sometimes it'll take longer if there's multiple issues that are happening. So just keep that in mind. So for an example on how a fertility herb works differently than a fertility drug, we'll talk about Clomid. Clomid's a very common, very popular fertility medication that's prescribed to force the body to ovulate. And this is, a lot of people have found this helpful. They use it for about 5 days, and it'll bring a lot of follicles to mature, cause a lot of follicles to mature so you can ovulate. And so that's taken for a short period of time. It can only be taken up to 3 cycles because of how strong it is. And Clomid has some very strong side effects. It's like PMS times 10. It can make you want to tear people's heads off. But for some people, this has worked really well for them. But the contrast to that would be a fertility herb such as Vitex. So Vitex is an herb that we use to help support normal hormonal balance. And this would help to support the endocrine system, which is the system in the body that's responsible for the hormonal orchestra that causes your monthly cycle. And part of that monthly cycle would be you ovulating. So Vitex would be something we would use. But when you're using Vitex, there's a lot of different shifts that are going to happen in your body through the month and through the use of it, because it's helping to support your body and support your endocrine system. It's actually going to be your endocrine system that causes you to ovulate, not Vitex. It's supporting your system. It does not contain any hormones. Whereas a lot of fertility medications will have hormones, will be hormones. So that's another benefit that I think with using fertility herbs, especially when you're just using them for yourself and not working directly with an herbalist or a fertility consultant, is they don't have hormones. So they're helping to support systems. So that's an example. Another thing to think about is that, medications are made in labs. They're something that's produced, that's very strong, usually used for a short amount of time. Whereas a lot of the herbs that we work with, not every single herb, but a lot of the herbs that we work with are whole plants. They're safe for long-term use, and they're helping you to become healthier. That's why you're getting the results from them that they have. So for those of you who just joined us, we have some new viewers. We're covering we're covering how to use fertility herbs for fertility, and this is part 1 of a series I'm doing this week. So we covered so far that fertility herbs are different than fertility drugs and how they're different. They take some time to work. And then herbs, the thing with herbs, and I think the same with medications, but I know for a fact with herbs, they work better if you have a healthy fertility diet in place. If you have nutritional deficiencies, if you're eating a ton of sugar, if you're under a lot of stress, they're not going to work as well. You can't just completely lean on a fertility herb and that's all you do and you expect results. For instance, Vitex, which we just talked about, is an herb that won't be as effective if you are not getting enough folic acid. If you're not, if your diet is deficient, it actually won't have as good of an effect because it's supporting your endocrine system, but your endocrine system needs healthy fats. It needs all these different nutrients to produce hormones. So you're not going to get the result if you're eating a crappy diet and then taking this herb and expecting to have results. So think about that and know that. And I think it's the same for medications, but not so directly because they're very strong. So they will force you to have, force their effect. Another great thing about herbs is that they contain vital nutrients for our body. In herbalism, in herbal therapy, we use a lot of herbs because of how nutrient dense they are. An example of that would be an herb called alfalfa. That's a wonderful herb that many women drink during pregnancy, that are in a lot of nutritive blends because of how many minerals that herb has in it. So that's just a quick example. And another benefit about using herbs, besides them being very affordable, very accessible, very effective, is that there's little to no side effects. And I'm not saying this for every single herb on the planet. I'm saying this about the fertility herbs that I work with specifically with our clients. There's little to no side effects. And one of the reasons is we are working with the whole herb. We're not working with specific standardized extracts of specific components. There's a lot going on within an herb and we want to keep that intact and we want to have all those components together when we're using that herb. Another thing about it is that a lot of herbs are lower dosage than a medication. So we're going to naturally have lower side effects and they're helping to support a system of the body. When we're working with herbs for fertility, it's a completely different approach than using fertility medications because we're helping to support the body's health. We're helping to support the body's balance. And through that, you get your results. So that's just something to think about. There's another thought, misconception that we hear from some people before they work with us is fertility herbs are expensive. And that couldn't be further from the truth compared to the alternatives. Fertility medications, it's pretty unbelievable. If you guys know, does anybody know anyone who's gone through a round of IVF and how much they ended up spending on that round? Or if you've gone through a round, how much do you think, take a guess, how much do you think it would cost to go through one round of IVF? Take a little sip of my juice. All right, you ready? It's about $15,000 with medications for one round of IVF. Something to think about. So with fertility herbs, it's going to range with how much it's going to cost depending on, you know, what's going on, but it's going to be a fraction of that price for sure. And we're supporting, again, health. Another thing that we do, you know, that we do come against is that, you know, herbs can be gross, or they have this flavor to them. And yeah, herbs are herby. They definitely have a flavor to them, especially because some of the products we love to work with and the products that I formulated are liquid extracts, because those are some of the best forms of taking herbs. So yeah, they're going to taste herby, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Totally worth it when you get that positive pregnancy test. Totally worth it. Another thing when you're taking fertility herbs is to be patient and to be consistent. You can't just take something for a week and expect to have the results. You have to be consistent, taking it every single day, taking it regularly, and for a period of time, at least 3 months, depending on your personal situation, a lot longer for some people. And then one of the last things I definitely want to cover is that some people think it's okay to take herbs and fertility medications together. We do not suggest that. When you're going through medicated cycle, fertility treatment, you don't want to be taking any herbs. You do not want to have any type of contrast or effect on the medications that you're taking. You need to be all in when you're doing a medicated cycle. So what you would do if you're going that route is you prepare beforehand and do your protocols and make your body healthy and prepare everything beforehand. Stop all your herbs, and then you go on and do your medicated cycle. If you're going all natural and just getting started, which is fantastic, then you don't want to mix. You want to start and stick to one program and one plan, and then you can make adjustments after you've given it that enough time to see if that's going to work for you. So I wouldn't mix them. Also, you know, if you are taking herbs and you're seeing a doctor, go ahead and talk with them about that and give them, you know, we have plenty of studies on our website if you need some tools to bring to discuss with them. So that's my scope for today on how to begin using fertility herbs for fertility. So I thank everybody for joining me, and I hope you found this content helpful, and I will see you tomorrow.